Coming up on WFT News First at 5, Governor Ron DeSantis discusses his plans for the state budget, including some help for a team left out of the college football playoff.
We're setting aside $1 million for any litigation expenses that may become as a result of this really poor decision by the college football playoffs.
What the governor plans on doing with the over $100 billion budget and how they'll affect your bills and income.
Plus,
well, it's all just so that the guy can make more money. And he's going to take from us our peace and quiet of the neighborhood.
A community under new ownership and potential rezoning. How local residents are reacting to the proposed changes of their neighborhood.
And temperatures are dipping below average. We're tracking this week's chillier conditions. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Some residents in Marion County are skeptical about proposed development of an established private airport community. I'm Chris Will.
And I'm Alexa Herrera. WUFT's Bailey Korinek is standing by in the studio with the latest developments from commission meetings where people share their opinions on the matter.
Jumbo Lair Aviation and Estates is under new ownership as of March. The new owner is now requesting a zoning change, which would allow hundreds of homes, townhomes, and a commercial area. The potential development faces opposition from concerned residents. Jumbo Lair's new owner, Robert Bull, and various business entities want to rezone hundreds of acres of land. The new development plans have sparked heated debate.
This is getting very old. I can't even hear people on the telephone if I'm working. I can't hear myself. Excuse me. Oh, are you at the airport? Are you in Orlando? No, I'm actually in the Farmland Preservation area in Ocala, Florida.
The changes were first brought to the Planning and Zoning Board at its meeting on October 30th. According to the application, as many as 205 townhomes and 241 normal-size homes could be built. Marion County Growth Services initially recommended approval, but later reversed the decision after a divisive Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
Because of the same concerns as the land use amendment, because of the traffic and the commercial concerns, we're recommending denial for today.
Residents worry about changes to the privately owned airport. The lawyer representing Bull dispelled the rumors of a flight school.
But I want to assure anybody in the audience who's concerned about a flight school or a flight center or students or any commercial activity going on here, that is absolutely false and not true.
The Marion County Board of County Commissioners will make its final decision today. Jumbo Lair is home to one of the country's longest private runways. John Travolta owns an estate in the residential air park spanning nearly 7,000 square feet. The star was one of the first residents to buy within the fly-in community. Live in the newsroom, Bailey Korinek, WUFT News.
Governor Ron DeSantis announced his budget for the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year this morning. It totals $114.4 billion, which is $4.6 billion less than the current budget. Some of the highlights include $1.25 billion for teacher salary increases, $1.3 billion for disaster recovery, and more than $745 million for Everglades restoration projects. DeSantis explains Florida is in a good fiscal state with a AAA credit rating. He highlighted Florida's many achievements from the past year, including being the #1 fastest growing state in the nation for the first time since the 1950s.
I think people in Florida can have a lot of satisfaction to know that the state is strong. Our fiscal situation has never been better, and we're going to continue showing the rest of the country how it's done.
DeSantis also mentioned how disappointing it was that Florida State University was left out of the college football playoffs.
Setting aside $1 million for any litigation expenses that may become as a result of this really poor decision. And prior to
the budget will go into effect on July 1st.
You know, Alexa, I was just in St. Louis for a wedding, and it was awfully cold, but it would appear that weather seems to be following me to Gainesville.
Well, maybe you should go back and take that weather back with you. WUFT's Derrah joins us now to track this cold front.
I'm with Alexa. I think you should book that next flight, Chris, and take that weather right back with you because you have me out here tracking near freezing temperatures. I'm just teasing. Right now, we're seeing a few more clouds stream in. You can finally see some blue in the sky. We're in the 64 right now in Gainesville. couple of clouds streaming in overhead. We're more sunny in some spots than others. We're at 65 in Palatka, 67 in St. Augustine, 69 in Jacksonville, and 64 in High Springs. Now we will be cooling down by 8, 9, 10 o'clock into the 50s, and then overnight we're looking at temperatures in the 40s. It's about to get even colder than that, though. We'll talk about that cool down coming up.
Thanks, Derrah. Gainesville is among dozens of cities, counties, and school districts being questioned by the state auditor about long-running financial issues. The Joint Legislative Auditing Committee, or JLAC, voted to require written follow-ups on items not fully corrected after 3 years. The current count of three-peat findings involves at least 56 cities and 13 counties and nearly 100 separate findings. For Gainesville, the state audits kept showing material weakness in timely processing of bank records and financial statements. The city reported it planned to get back to full monthly and quarterly accounting by the end of this year. Another written response will soon be required.
A local elementary school was placed on lockdown after someone from the school called 911. Marion County Sheriff's Department responded to the call from Horizon Academy on Marion Oaks Drive shortly before 10 a.m. Deputies say someone made a call in reference to an active shooter. MCSO says its units did not locate any threat to the safety of the students or staff, and no injuries were reported. We're told the investigation is still ongoing.
North Central Florida residents are gearing up for the holidays, which means dusting off those decorations. During all the excitement, it's easy to forget to look out for fire hazards. WFT's Kirsten Maselka has more on how to keep your home safe this season.
A classic sign that the holidays are upon us is the twinkling lights everywhere you go. Unfortunately, this holiday tradition isn't the only thing that can light up your home this season. The National Fire Protection Association says holiday season fires cause $14 million in property damage annually. American Red Cross Disaster Program Manager Ricardo Rosario sees more fires during the holidays than ever. Rosario has witnessed the tragedy resulting from these fires firsthand.
You can see, that they have nothing sometimes. They lost everything they had in their home, and usually that's everything they own.
The U.S. Fire Administration says almost 1/3 of Christmas tree fires are caused by electrical problems. Gainesville Fire Rescue cautions citizens of how quickly an overheated power strip can turn into a disaster.
The lights themselves are very safe, but a lot of times what happens is people will connect them together with other lights or other extension cords, and that causes an increase in heat that it's not designed for, and then it becomes an ignition source for fires.
American Red Cross officials caution citizens to avoid overloading power strips or connecting multiple extension cords. Keep these tips in mind when decorating this holiday season to keep your home and family safe. Though these tips may seem small, they could be the difference in preventing a disaster.
It's just devastating when you arrive and seeing the damage.
A tragedy that can be avoided to ensure a safe and happy holiday. Kirsten Maselka, WUFT News.
High Springs Police Department is ready for the holidays with its annual Christmas gift giveaway. The department is accepting donations in support of its annual holiday cheer drive. Wrapped or unwrapped gifts and monetary donations are accepted. You can drop off your donations at the High Springs Police Department mailbox until Friday, December 15th at 4 p.m. High Springs PD provided gifts to over 50 children last year. For more information on the drive, contact 386-454-7319.
The holiday season is certainly in full swing and festivities are on the rise. WFT's Alex Land explores a light show that's just in time for the holidays right here in Gainesville.
The sound of snow machines blowing and the holiday music blasting draw customers into the environment of Gainesville's Winter Wonderland.
The holiday spirit has made its way to North Central Florida. Winter Wonderland offers activities that everyone in the family can enjoy.
This holiday experience has photo opportunities, craft stations, and interactive games. Volunteer Dawn Marie Morton encourages Gainesville residents to support this local event.
Why don't you support something here in Gainesville instead of drive elsewhere? And that's the other draw to me, is I don't have to go so far to do a great family event around the holidays.
Winter Wonderland was created by two North Central Florida companies, SunPower Lawn Care and Twinkle Nights. Event director Tom Snoggles says he wanted to create an entirely locally made event. Snoggle says his goal is to bring the local community together.
I want it to be more of a hub in the community, and this light show kind of does that, as well as is a crazy cool light show and event.
Winter Wonderland takes place every Friday and Saturday night at the North Central Florida YMCA. This event will be held until December 30th. Dawn Marie Morton says she hopes this event will help local families feel the holiday spirit.
With everything being so difficult for a lot of families, if we can just shine some light on their life for even a moment, that really fulfills my heart as well.
Winter Wonderland is working to ensure North Central Florida families can celebrate the holiday season. Alex Land, WUFT News.
To purchase tickets for this event, visit Gainesville Winter Wonderland's website.
Washington Democrats are expressing their outrage over the comments of one of their own. What one House Democrat said against Israel and how others are responding. Up next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The Republican Party of Florida is calling for a special meeting to address a chairman facing a sexual assault investigation. Christian Ziegler, the Republican Party of Florida's chairman, is accused of sexually assaulting a woman in October. He's denied any wrongdoing and refused to step down despite calls from Governor Ron DeSantis to give up his role. Ziegler reportedly admitted to having a sexual relationship with the alleged victim, but says it was consensual. In a statement Friday, Ziegler's attorneys say he is confident once the police investigation is complete, no charges will be filed. The meeting with the Republican Party of Florida is set for December 17th in Orlando.
Democrats are working on a resolution to convict Hamas's use of sexual violence. Washington House Democrat Pramila Jayapal called the rape of Israeli women balanced in response to Palestinian deaths. Jewish Democrats are expressing their frustrations with her recent comments. But Democrats say the call for a resolution was not created as a response to what Jayapal said. Combating rape as a tool of war is a long-standing priority for Congresswoman Florida Representative Lois Frankel. Says she condemns Hamas and the use of rape as a war tactic.
Rape and sexual assault as a tool of war, as a weapon of war, is not acceptable. It needs to be criminalized in every country, in every territory, and it has to be prosecuted as a crime.
This comes after Hamas broke a humanitarian truce with Israel last week.
4 Republicans have now qualified for the 4th GOP presidential debate. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie will face off in Tuscaloosa. Former President Donald Trump, the frontrunner for the GOP nomination, will once again skip the event. To qualify for this debate, candidates were required to meet higher donor standards, polling criteria set by the Republican National Committee. They also had to register at least 6% in 2 qualifying national polls and 2 polls from separate early voting states like Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, or Nevada.
I'm tracking temperatures as low as the 30s and rain this weekend. We'll break down that timing for you when I see you in just a few minutes.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
There's a beautiful sunset over the Ben Hill Griffin Stadium right now. Temperatures in the upper 60s. Now, when you step out the door, it is a bit breezy. We have those winds coming at us from the west, anywhere from 5 to even 11 miles per hour in some spots. Temperatures right now at 63 in Gainesville, 64 in Ocala, 65 in the Villages, and 66 in Jacksonville. Now, dew points, the measure of moisture in the air, those are in the 30s and 40s, so it's certainly feeling dry out the door this evening as well. Lots of cloud cover streaming in between these cold fronts. We just had one move through, and we have another cold front on the way. And then overnight, we're looking at cooler temperatures, so those winds will shift out of the northwest overnight tonight, and that's going to cause it to feel a little bit more chilly tonight. We'll be cooling down, and then partly cloudy skies tonight and tomorrow morning. You'll be waking up to temperatures in the upper 40s. 46 degrees is the low here in Gainesville, and tomorrow you'll want to keep those light jackets handy because we're only going to be warming up into the upper 50s and low 60s, and then Thursday morning is when we'll see the coldest night so far this week with temperatures in the 30s. Now, once you factor in that wind chill, we'll even be seeing a few 20s to the north of town in terms of feels like temperatures, and And with temperatures that close to the freezing point, that's when we'll see the chance to develop some patchy frost. So definitely plan ahead and protect those plants now. Wednesday night through Thursday morning, you'll want to take those plants indoors. We'll have high pressure shifting overhead. That's going to spark that warming trend that we'll see in our temperatures. And as it continues to push further east over the Atlantic, that'll allow for that moisture to build back in and increase our rain chances. So 30s Thursday morning, and then we'll slowly warm up to highs in the upper 70s by Saturday. But here come those rain chances over the weekend, Sunday all the way through next Tuesday.
Coming up on WFT News, just like the temperatures outside, Florida men's basketball is freezing cold at the moment. The Gators have lost back-to-back games, but they'll have the chance to right the ship when they return home tonight. After the break, we'll be talking all about their matchup with Merrimack College and plenty more. Stay tuned.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome into sports. I'm Bradley Shimel. Things have not been great for Florida men's basketball as of late, but tonight they have an opportunity to get back on track. For more, we're joined now by WUFT's Madison Walker, who is live inside the O'Connell Center. Madison, what do you have for us?
That's right, Bradley. Florida basketball is back in Gainesville tonight for a well-needed return home. The 4-3 Gators will be hosting the Merrimack College Warriors tonight. Florida comes into this game riding a 2-game losing streak, most recently losing to Wake Forest last week. In that game, Florida led by 9 points with 15 minutes remaining, but then surrendered an offensive explosion to the Demon Deacons. The Gators allowed 50 points in the second half, after allowing 95 points in their previous loss. They'll look to have a much more improved defensive effort in tonight's game. Tip-off is scheduled for 7 p.m. Reporting live from inside the O-Dome, I'm Madison Walker. Back to you, Bradley.
First, let's travel to Newberry, where the Panthers, pictured in white, hosted the Santa Fe Raiders in their second game of the season. After dominating Bronson in their season opener, Newberry stood on business last night, scoring 80 points in what was a high-scoring affair. Juwan Scipio was a force for the Panthers, scoring both from distance and inside. Newberry will look for their third win of the season tomorrow night against Fort White. Taking a look at a few other games from last night, Trenton defeated Oak Hall in a game that came down to the wire. Meanwhile, PK Yonge defeated Interlochen 72-35 for their third win of the year, and Meadowbrook Academy defeated Countryside 59-32. Tonight, Chiefland will look for their first win as they take on Bronson. Meanwhile, Eastside will travel to PK Yonge, and Gainesville High School will host Columbia. And to wrap things up, the high school football state championships are inching closer and closer. On Thursday night, the Hawthorne Hornets will go for their second consecutive state championship and first undefeated season in school history against Madison County.
Yeah, Brad, super excited to get up to Tallahassee. I'll actually be covering the Hawthorne game, giving you a preview on Thursday, and then also recapping that game along with Trinity Catholic and Bradford for Friday's show. Super excited.
Well, hopefully the weather in Tallahassee holds up and it's not too cold. I'm hoping it's not too cold in Gainesville. I don't really want to be wearing heavy layers for the rest of the week. Derrah, what's it looking like?
Me either, Alexa. Tonight, though, we're looking at temperatures in the mid-40s here in Alachua County and Marion County. We're looking at temperatures closer to the upper 40s. Now, this cold spell is going to be short-lived. Our coldest temperature of the week comes on Thursday. We'll slowly be climbing back up into the mid-40s by Friday, upper 50s Saturday night, and highs each day, increasing near 80 by Saturday. But here come those rain chances on Sunday into next week.
And before we go, since we have some extra time, it is Alexa's final show with us. She'll be graduating this semester. It was an absolute pleasure to share the desk with you this semester.
Yeah, it was great, and I'm super excited for what the future holds, but glad I had the opportunity to be with all of you.
Yeah, and we're super excited to see what the future has in store for you.
Yes.
Yeah. BBC World News is up next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.